Most people wake up every morning believing one thing. If they work hard enough at their job, someday they'll become rich. That belief has been repeated for generations. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work for 40 years. Then maybe, just maybe, you'll finally have freedom. But the truth is brutal. Your salary will never make you rich. Your salary can help you survive. It can pay your bills. It can keep food on the table. It can finance a lifestyle that looks successful on the outside. But real wealth, real financial freedom, that's a completely different game. And most people never realize it until it's too late. They spend their entire lives trapped in a cycle. Every month starts with hope and ends with stress. The paycheck comes in and instantly it disappears. Rent, car payment, insurance, credit card bills, groceries, subscriptions, taxes, emergencies. Then suddenly it's the end of the month again, waiting for another paycheck to rescue them. That's not freedom. That's survival with better branding. The system taught you to chase security instead of ownership. That's why millions of people work harder every year but still stay broke. Their income increases, but their expenses increase faster. They buy bigger houses, newer cars, expensive clothes, luxury vacations, and things they don't even need just to impress people who don't care. And the moment the paycheck stops, their entire life collapses. Think about it. If your job disappeared tomorrow, how long could you survive without panic? 30 days? 60? Maybe a few months? That's not wealth. Wealth means your life doesn't fall apart when you stop working for someone else. Most people are employees their entire lives, and there's nothing wrong with working hard. Hard work matters. Discipline matters. Sacrifice matters. But if all your money comes from trading time for dollars, there's a limit to how rich you can become. Because time is limited. You can only work so many hours in a day. You can only take so much overtime before your body breaks. You can only grind so long before exhaustion catches you. And while you're working for money, real wealthy people are building systems that make money while they sleep. That's the difference. Poor people work for money. Rich people make money work for them. One group spends their entire lives renting their time. The other group spends their lives building assets. And nobody tells you this when you're young. Schools teach you how to become a worker, not an owner. They teach obedience, not financial intelligence. They train you to follow instructions, meet deadlines, and depend on paychecks. But they rarely teach investing, business, ownership, taxes, leverage, or cash flow. Why? Because employees keep the system running. Look around carefully. The richest people in the world are not becoming wealthy because of salaries. They become wealthy because they own something, a business, real estate, stocks, intellectual property, brands, systems, distribution, attention. Ownership changes everything. A person earning $100,000 a year from a salary still has limits. Taxes hit first. Expenses keep growing. Time remains limited. But someone who owns assets can scale infinitely. Their money keeps growing even when they're not physically working. That's why some people stay financially trapped no matter how much they earn. A broke mindset says, I need a higher salary. A wealthy mindset says, I need ownership. And this is where most people fail. They think earning more money automatically solves financial problems. But if financial habits stay the same, more income just creates bigger spending. That's why professional athletes go broke. That's why lottery winners lose millions. Money without discipline disappears fast. You don't become rich because you earn money. You become rich because you keep money, multiply money, and protect money. And that requires a different mindset entirely. See, society rewards consumers. Everywhere you look, people are encouraged to spend. Social media constantly pushes luxury lifestyles into your face. New phones, designer brands, expensive watches, fancy restaurants. Everybody wants to look rich. But looking rich and being rich are completely different things. The guy driving the luxury car may actually be drowning in debt. The person wearing expensive clothes may have zero savings. The influencer flexing online may secretly be broke. Real wealth is often quiet. Real wealth is having options. Real wealth is waking up without fear. Real wealth is owning your time. Real wealth is not depending on one paycheck to survive. And here's the hard truth most people avoid. Your employer will replace you faster than you think. No matter how loyal you are, no matter how many extra hours you work, no matter how much stress you sacrifice your health for, companies will always prioritize profits first. The moment budgets get tight, employees become numbers on a spreadsheet. That's reality. So if your entire future depends on one salary, you're standing on dangerous ground. You need another path. You need skills that create value outside your job. You need investments. You need assets. You need income streams that continue paying you even when you're not clocked in. Because relying on one paycheck in today's world is one of the riskiest financial decisions you can make. The goal is not to work forever. The goal is freedom. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom to say no. Freedom to walk away from toxic environments. Freedom to help your family. Freedom to live without constant financial pressure. And freedom never comes from salary alone. It comes from ownership, discipline, patience, and the courage to think differently from everyone else. Most people will ignore this message because it's uncomfortable. They'll continue chasing raises while staying trapped in the same cycle year after year. They'll continue buying liabilities instead of assets. They'll continue trading their lives for temporary comfort. But a small percentage of people will wake up. They'll realize the paycheck was never the destination. It was only supposed to be the starting point. The moment most people get a raise, they celebrate like they've finally escaped the struggle. Bigger paycheck, better lifestyle, more comfort. For a few weeks, it feels like progress. But then something dangerous happens. Their lifestyle expands. The apartment becomes more expensive. The car payment increases. The shopping habits change. More dinners outside. More subscriptions. More unnecessary spending disguised as rewarding yourself. And suddenly, the extra money disappears. This is a trap that keeps millions of people financially stuck for life. It's called lifestyle inflation. The more they earn, the more they spend. So even when income rises, freedom never comes closer. They're still trapped. The average person believes wealth is about how much money you make. But wealth is really about how much money you keep and how long your money can survive without your labor. That changes everything. A person making $50,000 a year while investing consistently may eventually become financially free. Another person earning $250,000 a year, but spending everything may stay broke forever. Income alone means nothing without control. That's why discipline matters more than salary. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a behavior problem. They buy things emotionally. They spend to impress others. They confuse entertainment with fulfillment. And every emotional purchase slowly steals their future. Think about how many people buy expensive things just to feel important for a moment. A luxury car won't fix insecurity. Designer clothes won't create confidence. A bigger house won't create peace. But society keeps convincing people that consumption equals success. So people continue upgrading lifestyles while secretly becoming prisoners of debt. And debt is one of the biggest weapons keeping people from becoming wealthy. The moment your entire paycheck belongs to banks, loans, and monthly payments, you lose power. You stop making decisions based on freedom and start making decisions based on survival. Suddenly, you can't leave the stressful job because the bills are too high. You can't take risks because your lifestyle depends on constant income. That's modern slavery, wearing a luxury suit. Rich people understand something the average person ignores. Cash flow creates freedom. Assets create cash flow. Liabilities destroy it. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out. But most people spend their lives collecting liabilities while believing they're building wealth. The expensive car loses value. The luxury items lose value. The finance lifestyle drains energy every single month. Meanwhile, wealthy people focus on buying things that produce income. Businesses, investments, real estate, skills, digital assets. Things that continue paying them long after the work is done. That's why two people can work equally hard but end up with completely different futures. One spends everything trying to look successful. The other quietly builds ownership. And ownership changes generations. When you own assets, Your money starts multiplying. You stop depending entirely on physical effort. Instead of only earning from labor, you begin earning from systems. And systems scale far beyond human time. That's how true wealth is created. Not overnight, not through luck, not through motivation alone, through consistency. The problem is most people want quick rewards. They want instant success. They want results without patience. So they chase shortcuts instead of principles. They gamble instead of investing. They flex instead of building. And social media makes this worse. Every day, people compare themselves to strangers online. They see rented luxury cars, fake lifestyles, edited success stories, and overnight millionaire fantasies. What they don't see is the debt, stress, fake image, and financial instability hiding underneath. Real wealth usually looks boring in the beginning. It looks like discipline. It looks like delayed gratification. It looks like investing instead of spending. It looks like saying no when everyone else says yes. Most people are addicted to short-term pleasure. Wealth requires long-term thinking. That's why financial freedom is rare. Because it demands sacrifice most people refuse to make. It demands waking up earlier to build something extra after work. It demands learning valuable skills while others waste hours scrolling online. It demands investing money when everyone else is spending it. It demands patience while others chase instant gratification. And the hardest part? Nobody claps for you in the beginning when you start becoming financially disciplined. People may even laugh at you. They'll call you cheap. They'll question your ambition because you don't waste money trying to impress others. They won't understand the vision because average people normalize financial struggle. But years later, those same people will wonder why your life changed while theirs stayed the same. Because while they chase appearances, you chase freedom. And freedom always requires sacrifice first. The truth is simple. Your salary can support your journey, but it will never be enough by itself to create extraordinary wealth. If you want a different spend future, their entire lives, you must stop thinking only like an employee and start thinking like an owner. Waiting for a better because economy. The moment you learn how to make money grow, paycheck, without depending completely on your time, waiting for someday, your entire life someday changes. Is dangerous. Because someday turns into years. Years turn into decades. And before people realize it, their entire life has been spent surviving instead of building. The truth is, financial freedom does not happen automatically. Time alone will not make you rich. Hard work alone will not make you rich. Even intelligence alone will not make you rich. Strategy matters. The average person follows a predictable cycle. Wake up, go to work, come home exhausted, repeat. Then they distract themselves on weekends to escape the stress they created during the week. And every Monday the cycle starts again. That isn't living. That's existing. The scariest part is that many people normalize this lifestyle. They accept financial stress as permanent. They believe being broke is normal. They think struggling forever is just adulthood. But struggle becomes permanent when people stop taking control. Your future changes the moment you become intentional with money. Every dollar becomes a soldier. Instead of spending carelessly, you give money a mission. Some money is used for survival. Some is invested for growth. Some is used to create opportunity. That's how wealth begins. Not from one giant moment, but from small, disciplined decisions repeated over time. Most people underestimate consistency because results are invisible in the beginning. Going to the gym once changes nothing. Investing once changes nothing. Learning one skill changes nothing. But repeated daily for years, everything changes. That's why wealthy people focus on habits, while average people focus only on outcomes. A bad financial habit, repeated for 10 years, creates disaster. A smart financial habit, repeated for 10 years, creates freedom. The difference is patience. And patience is rare in modern society. People want instant results. They quit too early. They stop investing because growth feels slow. They stop building because success doesn't happen immediately. They expect massive rewards without enduring the uncomfortable phase first. But every successful person goes through seasons where nobody notices their effort. There are years when it feels like nothing is happening. That's where most people quit. The people who eventually win are usually not the smartest people in the room. They are the people who stay consistent long enough for results to compound. Compounding is powerful. Money compounds. Skills compound. Knowledge compounds. Discipline compounds. Confidence compounds. Every smart decision you make today creates momentum for tomorrow. And every bad decision creates consequences that eventually catch up. That's why your environment matters too. If everyone around you wastes money, avoids responsibility, and lives only for temporary pleasure, eventually that mindset affects you. Average thinking spreads fast. You must protect your focus. Read books that teach financial intelligence. Learn skills that increase your value. Spend time around ambitious people. Study how money actually works. Because once you understand the game, you stop playing like everyone else. You stop chasing status symbols. You stop buying things to impress strangers. You stop depending emotionally on paychecks. Instead, you start building leverage. Leverage is what separates wealthy people from workers trapped forever. Wealthy people learn how to multiply effort through systems, investments, technology, teams, and ownership. They understand one important truth. You will never create massive freedom by only selling hours. At some point, you must build something bigger than your personal labor. That could be a business, a brand, an investment portfolio, a valuable skill online, content, real estate, anything that grows beyond your physical time, because your energy is limited. But systems can continue producing forever. And this is where your mindset must evolve. Stop asking, how much can I earn this month? Start asking, how can I build something that keeps paying me for years? That single shift changes your future. Because rich people don't only think about income. They think about ownership. They think about leverage. They think about freedom. And the moment you begin thinking that way, you stop living paycheck to paycheck mentally. You start building a life where money no longer controls every decision you make. That is the beginning of real wealth. At the end of the day, money is not just about numbers in a bank account. Money is about control. Control over your time. Control over your choices. Control over the direction of your life. And the reason so many people stay trapped is because they spend their entire lives giving that control away. They wake up every morning building someone else's dream while ignoring their own potential. They sacrifice their health, energy, and freedom for a paycheck that disappears almost as fast as it arrives. Then one day they look back and realize they spent decades surviving instead of truly living. Don't let that become your story. Your salary is not the enemy. A job can help you survive, learn skills, build discipline, and create stability. But if your entire future depends only on one paycheck, you're always vulnerable. True security comes from what you build outside your job. That's why you must think differently from average people. Average people consume first and invest later. Wealthy people invest first and consume last. Average people focus on looking successful. Wealthy people focus on becoming financially free. And freedom requires sacrifice. There will be moments when building your future feels lonely. Moments when progress feels slow. Moments when you question whether the extra work, discipline, and patience are worth it. Keep going anyway. Because every hour you spend learning, investing, building, and improving yourself is creating a version of your future that most people will never experience. A future where money is no longer a constant source of stress. A future where you don't panic every time bills arrive. A future where you have options instead of fear. A future where you own your time instead of renting your life away. That future is possible. But nobody is coming to save you. No company will care more about your future than you do. No paycheck will magically create wealth. No motivational video alone will change your life. Action changes lives. The people who escape financial struggle are not always lucky. They simply become intentional. They stop wasting years waiting for perfect conditions and start using what they already have. They build one skill at a time, one investment at a time, one disciplined decision at a time. And eventually those small decisions become a completely different life. Remember this. Your job can pay the bills, but ownership builds wealth. Your salary can support your dreams, but discipline makes them real. And the moment you stop depending completely on earned income and start building assets, leverage, and financial intelligence, you stop surviving and start becoming powerful. Most people will hear these words and continue living exactly the same way tomorrow. But few people will decide today is the day everything changes. Be one of them, because your future should never be limited by a paycheck.